Welcome back to the Buzz on Veterans. I'm Steve Strum. This morning we have Chief Paul Restivo from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for your service, both to our great country, which we're going to talk about, and the boys in blue, because we know Kevlar doesn't breathe. So, we had an opportunity to talk offset, in all sincerity. I come from a red and blue family. I grew up in the Army. Love the fact that you guys have had the opportunity to join us today to talk about some of the initiatives that you're doing for JSO, but I'd love to talk for just a minute about your service to our great country before you put the blue on with the stars on your shoulder.
Yeah, sure. So first, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So just a little bit of background on me. I was Floridian since day one, and fourth generation, and grew up in Tampa. Didn't have much of a plan, so I decided to go into the military, like many of my relatives, and I went in as a quartermaster, navigation, went from E1 to E5 during my 4 years, left as a QM2, Petty Officer Second Class, but still kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was stationed right here in Mayport. I was on two different ships, the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga and the fast frigate USS Vreeland. And when I was getting out, still kind of unsure what I wanted to do, and I just so happened to hear about an orientation for the JSO. And I had done a little ship security force, a little shore patrol, and it interested me. I'd also thought about maybe going to FBI, using my GI Bill to, get my college education and go the federal route. But the bug bit me when I went to this orientation, and back then it was really hard to get on. There were like 500 people that showed up. But I was lucky enough to get in the class, and that was back in 1992. And yeah, I've been here ever since, and I absolutely love it.
The fact that 1992 was 30 years ago is something that we should probably discuss at another time.
Yeah.
I do not know. I am waning down on the amount of years that I can say that my age begins with a 4. Right. And it's just like I'm just figuring out how that goes. So what are some of the things that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is doing? So you're a former military guy that left the military, that stayed, which happens often. Jacksonville is a very big place for relocation. My mother, who lives in Ohio, would tell you that you do not have to shovel rain, which is, true. A lot of people stay in Jacksonville. Why is it that so many military, and it's not just Navy people, and obviously we have one of the largest Navy bases here, 2 of them in the country, at least on the eastern seaboard, but it's not just Navy. There's military, there's Army, there's all branches of the military here somewhat represented. Why does so many former military people, why do they come back to Jacksonville?
I think it's a military town, and it has been for a long time. I fell in love with it. I planned on going back to Tampa during just my 4 years here. I fell in love with this town, and I wanted this to be my community as an adult. Close enough to home, but far enough away to make my own mark. And so I think it's just a great place for anybody to settle down. Like you said, no snow. We've the biggest landmass city in the continental United States.
That's the size of Rhode Island.
Sure, it's huge, and we have so much going on. And I think that there's just so many opportunities, and it just continues to grow and become better and better. And so I think it's just very appealing to veterans. Now,
one of the things that obviously happens as a city grows and grows, right? You have to think about police, fire, services, right? Not that, obviously, humans hopefully do the right thing most of the time. Right. However, when, you're there to help encourage us to do the right thing, but then also when we choose not to do the right thing, your role is to obviously keep the rest of us safe, right, from those folks, and at least get them so that everybody can have their fair day in court. Although you're not the judge, jury, and executioner at the side of the road, your job is to help make sure that we maintain civil service and make sure we, maintain our civil liberties and our rights to freedom. Knowing that the city's growing, what are some of the things that you're doing, kind of in that military universe? I know we were talking a little bit about that, for people that are former military to understand maybe is JSO part of their next adventure. What are some of the things that you're doing in the community in that area?
Yeah, well, we are actively looking, like I was talking about before, how it was so easy. I mean, so easy for them to recruit people and so hard for people to get on. Now it's kind of flip-flopped. There's a lot of stuff going on in the media and so forth about negativity with law enforcement and so forth like that. And we've come to a point where it's hard to recruit all over the nation as far as law enforcement. But what we're really trying to say is that a lot of the squeaky, wheels out there is what you hear on the news media. But overall, we get such support here in Jacksonville
Oh,
for,
sure.
for our law enforcement and our first responders and so forth like that. And there really is a similarity. We're paramilitary, you know, we have the duty to serve and the rank structure and so forth like that, and I think it's a very easy transition. And you know, even if you don't want to put on a badge, we have so many different areas that you can work. You know, you can be a police officer, be a corrections officer, we have civilian spots, be a dispatcher. I mean, there's a myriad of different positions. We have 3,500, close to 3,500 people that work for the sheriff's office, and only about 1,800 of those are sworn police officers. So I really tell veterans when they're looking around for their next chapter in life to go to joinjso.com, look at everything that's available. We're really trying to recruit the best and the brightest, and if you have that military background, that can only help you.
Fantastic. Well, what we'll do is, join JSO, right? The back of every bumper of every cop car that you guys should be behind because you're going slower than the emergency vehicle.
Should be able to read it.
That's exactly correct. It's about that big on the bumper. But what we'll do is we'll hang all your stuff on the JacksonvilleDailyNewsNetwork.com website so they go check it out. And again, in all sincerity, coming from a police and fire and Army family, I really appreciate what you do to serve our community, to keep us safe so that we can do amazing things like this and feel comfortable doing it on a daily basis. As we grow, you guys grow, and I see what you're doing out there in initiatives, not to just be the boogeyman that comes to bust the bad people, but you guys are truly engaging in the community in ways that people may not understand a police force able to do.
Absolutely.
So.
You know, the object of being in the military is to serve your country, and the object of being in law enforcement is really to serve your community. It's the same thing, just
That's
a
right.
smaller bite.
And what's the best way to win the war? Sometimes, and the Dalai Lama would say that sometimes the best way to win the fight is not having to pull the gun. Right?
That's exactly right.
Although you guys have the opportunity to keep us safe should that be needed. But I think in 99.999 to 999% of the time, as a chief and as any sworn police officer, the best interaction is the one where you don't have to do that.
Absolutely.
So again, whether it's a service to our country, to our city, really appreciate you and all your boys in blue. Guys, make sure you, next time you see a cop, buy them a coffee and make sure that they understand that their money's no good when you're around, because that's what I do for everybody every time. See you in the coffee shop, that's on me. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. If you like us, share us. Remember, live with gratitude.